Hello there, you absolute legends. Emma McElhinney here with Piss Off Perimenopause and the musings of a bullshit queenager. I am here to ruin your misconceptions about perimenopause, fat loss, and kick midlife in the face. So if you think your 40s are a drag, think again. Because every week I am going to be stripping down the myths about perimenopause. I'm serving you raw, unfiltered truths about your health and smashing misconceptions about fat loss. And a whole lot more. So if you thought you knew midlife, you don't know the half of it. Aging is inevitable, but getting old is a choice. So buckle up, grab a glass of something yummy, and let's get to it. Hello and a lovely warm welcome to the next episode of Piss Off Perimenopause and the musings of a bullshit queenager. I totally nearly forgot what the podcast was called there like that. What is it called? Like, oh shit. Do you know, I was talking to a girl earlier. I've not got to the guest yet. I was talking to a girl earlier and I couldn't remember the word for diplomatic. And I kept coming up with, like a politician. Like a politician. Like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, diplomatic. Nothing to do with, well, I suppose it kind of is a little bit. But anyway, that's how perimenopause is going here in the McElhinney household, is that I'm completely forgetting very obvious words. So even the name of my own podcast. Right, well, loves. So today's guest, we have got the very beautiful, very amazing Louise Russell. And I'm not going to tell you about Louise. All I'm going to say is Louise is actually one of my business and sales strategy clients. But I'm going to ask her in a wee minute to tell us a little bit about herself and what she is doing. With her perimenopause years, she's not kicking back and putting her feet up, that's for sure. So welcome to the podcast, Louise. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. Yeah.
I've been enjoying do you have sunshine where you are? Or are you a bit
no, it's attempting to brighten up, but not quite getting there.
We're very humidy. It's that kind of sweaty behind the hair.
No.
Not overly pleasant. So I think the best place for us to start, Louise, is you tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do? Where you're from? All that kind of jazz. And then I've got a heap of questions that I want to ask you.
Okie dokie. I'm Louise Russell. I'm in East Lothian, so near Edinburgh. I am a wellness coach and a seasonal yoga teacher. I also work as a nurse. I'm a mum, a just nearly 6-year-old son. So
is he going into primary too?
Will be after the holidays, yeah.
Oh, how exciting. It's like, well, mine's is going into second year now, and it genuinely doesn't feel, it's not that long ago since we did P2, when he thought he was a big grown-up boy going into P2.
Yeah, we're pretty much ready to leave school, I think.
Yeah, actually.
Primary one.
But I think in primary 2, Archie was still convinced that when he grew up, he was going to be a cheetah. So that kind of early aspirational, it kind of begins to leave them in primary 2. So if he's got any amazing careers that he wants to do, it might finish on them. Okay, so tell us more about your business. So I know obviously quite a lot about your business because we've been working on it a wee while, but tell us, how did that come about? What inspired you to become a wellness coach? What happened?
A few things. I kind of had some coaching myself from a kind of health and wellness perspective. That must be two and a bit years ago now, which obviously opened my eyes to coaching. This was like a totally new thing for me at that time. And then after the whole COVID situation, working in the NHS, one of the good things that came about there was an increase in sort of support for well-being for staff. As part of that, wellness coaching was available, and I've now since trained in work as a wellness coach, which is great that there's funding for that kind of thing. So yeah, and sort of as part of my growth, we'll call it that word, like kind of my process, I had kind of got back into yoga after not really practicing that much for a while, and built my my own yoga practice. And then when I was looking more at sort of wellness things, a lot of what I was kind of looking for kept bringing me back to yoga. And this seasonal yoga that I trained in, that was just last year. So that was a full year, 200-hour training, really gave me a lot of, it was kind of just for my personal growth really, and kind of gave me that connection with learning more about myself and connecting with other people with similar kind of interests and nature. So having done that, I'm now like, well, actually this needs to be kind of shared further. So that's how I've got into teaching now as well.
It's amazing how like every single coach within the health, wellness, and fitness space, it's almost like I must share this. I must help other people with this knowledge and this skill set that I've got. And it, like, I remember back in the early days, like, but you must listen to me. I can help you. Like, please let me help you. So what do you love about it? Because right. What's your love for wellness all about?
I think it's just that kind of feeling that you have control over your health and wellness. I think a lot of the time, we don't maybe seek to maintain that kind of for a longer term, looking forward. I think that's one thing that really coaching really helped me with, was looking forward more. And I've got stuff I want to do and things I want to do, so kind of maintaining my health and wellness for that. I'm a kind of older mum. I didn't actually have my son until I was like 39. So probably that's part of it as well. I'm aware that by the time he's maybe in his teenage years, he probably actually won't want anything to do with me. But in my head, we're going mountain biking together, rock climbing, and I want to be fit and able to do all that. So and that's kind of mentally as well as physically able to cope with what teenagers. I try to think what will be coming my way as he grows. So I guess that's part of my enthusiasm for
it is so powerful. I think as women, we don't, like, in your 20s and 30s, it's maybe not front and center. Like, we don't actually have, a lot of us don't have the physical, I don't know, the physical outshowing of, our health. Like, we tend to just run about doing the things. We've got careers, we're starting having kids, we do all the things, and it's not until we kind of get a wee bit older and maybe either we don't sleep very well, stress starts to make an impact, weight gain starts to make an impact, the tiredness starts to make an impact, and our health suddenly goes, oh shit, I'm not looking after myself here at all. And we've got quite a similar client base, and I like that it's that moment of shit, the kids are getting older, my parents are getting older, people are going to rely on me more, and I don't even feel as if I can rely on my own skin and bones at the moment. So I totally hear you on that one as well. And I think that's like part of the education process is like I use the phrase future proofing your body and your health, so that it's not something that you can change overnight. It's always going to be a work in progress, and everybody's different, but just doing the most that you can when you can, so that in the future you can put your own shopping away, you can get yourself out of bed, you can get yourself off the toilet. So hugely important, isn't it? So what did, like, you've obviously, you've got a lot on your plate. You're working in the NHS, you've got your own business, you've got a young child and got a family, and because there's two parts to your business, isn't there? There's the coaching element and there's the more yoga in person. Not everybody can set up their own business, but not many people would like want that extra responsibility and extra stress. What have been your biggest challenges about it all?
I've had so many. I'm not gonna lie, they're ongoing, but I think coming into it initially, my main frets and worries were about the kind of practical side of it, because I've always worked for, you know, NHS, and before that I worked for, you know, hotels. Do you know, like, I've never really understood anything about business because I've done as everything's been brought to me. I've dealt with whatever I've been given. So I was probably more worried about the logistical side of things, like what kind of IT stuff I might need, what kind of bank account I might need. Do I need, you know, more, do I need to tell anybody setting up a business? Just kind of practical things. But actually, you know, there's help there for that. So definitely since getting set up, it's more just, you know, your mindset, worries about, are you, you know, what you're doing, are you doing enough, how you going to do better, comparing to, you know, what other people are doing. I think just trying to find, because I feel like you kind of change because it develops as you get into it. I think that as well, even I wasn't probably quite prepared for, you know, I'm quite like to the point. I just like to know what I'm doing, and I like you know, to deliver something succinctly, and that's not really, because it's very much a kind of evolving process, and I'm quite reactive. You know, I work in an acute hospital where you kind of deal with things as they come up, whereas I feel this is much more, I need to be in control of it and plan it a bit better, and obviously try to fit it in around everything else as well. It can be difficult.
It's it's one of those things that there's so many moving parts at any different time, and it can be challenging to kind of go, right, well, what head do I need on now? Do I need like a social media head on? Do I need my energy head on? Do I need my coaching head on? Do I need my financial head on? Do I need my design head on? And like this is not a coaching call for you, but like it does get easier trying to be all the different people at the different times. But it is a different way of thinking, completely different way of thinking, isn't it? It's
Completely, yeah.
And when you're like, it's like, okay, you've got, like, when you're trying to juggle dinner, like say you're juggling dinner and the laundry, but in your head pops in oh, this would be a really good idea for a social media post. Like, shit, I need to scribble that down somewhere, because you forget, because you're too busy watching the pasta boil over or whatever. But at the other side of it, it's that fulfillment of, like, I always ask this question of myself, going, have I helped one person today? Like, that's my night time. Like, have I helped one person today? And it might just be through your social media content, or it might be through a call that you've had, or it might be through a conversation that you've had with a client or a prospective client. And it's like, yeah, I have. Or if no, you've not, right, I need to make that my check-off point tomorrow. That's my number one goal for tomorrow. And like, in terms of like what you've, like, it's a journey, it is a journey, like deciding that you want to take that leap is a huge step change. And there's no way that you can get through it without some solid thinking time. And you mentioned about the comparisonitis, which for every woman is a thief of joy. Comparisonitis is a thief of joy, because you could do it all day long. Like, we all do it. But like, what have you learned most about yourself? Or give me your key learnings.
That I can overcome my fears, I think, and actually quite often the things I put the most worry into are fairly insignificant once I've dealt with them. Do you know? It's and I don't know. I just feel like some things that, it's just kind of taken me a bit by surprise. The things that I've kind of bigged up to be a massive deal and put off, and then when I've done it, I've been like, oh, that was all right actually. And then other things, like, that possibly to other people, like, that's the thing as well, it's quite individual. So to other people might have been a bigger deal. I'm like, oh, I didn't, for what? And I guess a lot of that fluctuates, probably depending what else is going on round about me as well with the other things. But and so I guess I'm the kind of fear factor is big thing. It's kind of unwavering, but it's definitely getting better. I'm getting more confident in myself that I can deal with that. So.
It is. I remember when I first started, and it was somebody had said, right, you need to do a Facebook Live. Like that. Oh, hell no, that's not happening. That's terrifying. Da, 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 da. And like I had to get a full face of makeup. I was like, oh my God, the lighting, I need to make sure. And now, like, you saw a live that I did earlier, and I'm walking through a minging car park trying to get in my car, and like it's double chins and my handbag and all the rest of it. So yeah, the fear factor is real. Does it help you? Like, because a lot of what you're teaching your clients, like they'll have the fear factor of coming to work with you. They'll have the fear factor of like, what if this doesn't help me change? Do you have to coach yourself internally?
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's kind of a funny thing as well, because I guess as a nurse background, maybe it's this whole thing. I just find it easier to help other people, and I can see things, so I've done that to myself before with various other situations, like with this, if I was talking to a patient right now, what would I be saying? Or if I was supporting a family right now, what would I be, to kind of talk to myself that way, because I don't a lot of the time. I find it a lot easier. So the actual coaching other people comes probably more naturally to me, but I during the process feel like, oh, actually, yeah, I'm talking to myself here, listen, Louise, you need to be taking this on board too, so.
Yeah, it's so true though. Like we're all like we have so many good skills, and then sometimes you're just like, oh, yeah, I'm not doing or it's like I have I have to tell myself to pull up my big girl pants frequently. Like, Emma, just do it. Literally no one cares about this other than you. Just do it. Just JFDI.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. It's so true. It's so true though. So in your business, you're doing your yoga, you've got your wellness. Anything else that's coming up?
No, so currently I'm doing in-person yoga classes. I'm looking to do more sort of I don't know what to call them really, whether it's like kind of mini retreats or workshops, but
Retreats. Everybody loves a retreat.
want to work a bit more kind of combining the wellness coaching with the yoga, because they do. I think I've probably said this to you before, that really I feel a bit like yoga is just sort of ancient wellness coaching. We have in yoga these different sort of things to sort of apply into your life, and that essentially is like self-love and discipline, and these like things, that selflessness, that actually are kind of very interrelated into, it kind of just gives you a bit of a guide to follow. So it kind of feels like, with the wellness coaching, it's kind of very similar. So I feel that we really interrelate these two things would be ideal. That's the plan. Move forward with that.
I think that's an amazing plan, and there's so much like I've been on a couple of retreats, but just looking around about me, there's such a desire for them, and there's such a desire for something a little bit different, and I think that's something that you can really offer. And it's really like there are retreats in Scotland, but for those of us north of the border, when you're looking at all the things that are happening, it's all down south. It's all like. So yes, there's definitely got scope to grow that far and wide, I think.
Yeah. Well, even there's a lot of these things go on further afield, don't they?
I know
Bali or Mexico or whatever. But I feel like my sort of audience are either my local quite loyal yogis that I've got coming to my classes, or the people that I've got sort of more with the wellness coaching, that tend to all be kind of busy working mums.
And it is like, it's hard, isn't it? Like we all say we're all busy working mums. We all say we'd love to make the time for ourselves to do all this, but actually, how many of us actually do it? Like actually do it? And that's something that, you know, for those of you listening, that if you are thinking to yourself, oh, I really should prioritize myself more, or I would really love to do a wee mini retreat with yoga or nice food or whatever, like, do it. Absolutely do it. It's such an empowering feeling. Such an empowering feeling to know that you have actually made that commitment to yourself, even if it's just for 4 hours, like, or something, you know, something a little bit different, something more vibey than like just going for a bath and eating a packet of crisps. Like that can be beautiful self-care at times, but you know, getting away from your normal environment is so powerful, so powerful. You've got a Facebook group, do you? You have a Facebook group, don't you? God, I can't speak.
I do. Yeah, it's called the Women's Wellness Catalyst. So yeah, that's for this group of people really. Yeah, just busy working women trying to help prioritize your well-being. So we've got over 100 people in the group now. Yeah, it's a combo of kind of obviously group support, kind of can help each other out a little bit, and I've had some guests in there as well doing some chats with me about, you know, specific things. What we've had like manifesting, and we had a holistic physiotherapist in talking about sort of body's mobility, yeah, self-belief. So yeah, a few different things going on. And obviously I do some training sort of sessions in there as well to bring a bit of kind of
it's all good. It's all good. Right, so if anybody listening is like, actually, do you know what? I just want to feel a bit better, not really knowing, you know, it's definitely worthwhile checking out Louise's group, the Women's Wellness Catalyst. I'll put the group link in the show notes actually.
Oh, thank you.
And if anybody wants to work, you can work one-to-one with Louise. I'll not put the links into that. You can just do that through our group, or you can reach out directly to her. Mainly because I don't know what those links are, so tough. Don't know what they are, so I'm not going in. So like from our point of view, a lot of folk listening, but I hear this from a lot of people actually going, oh, I'd love to have my own business. But we'll never ever do it. What would you say to people? This is a good question, actually. What would you say to someone that is like, I do want to help people more and I think I can do it? What would you say?
Absolutely, you should. I think it's that whole thing, you know, if you've got an itch, you have to scratch it. So I think, I mean, it took me a while to, you know, I wanted to do the stuff. I wanted to do the coaching. I wanted to do the yoga training, but I didn't really want to have a business because that's just scary. But I mean, you kind of have to have a business, but that is probably, you know, it's definitely worth doing. If you've got something to share, then give it a go. And if, you know, I think that's one thing as well I've learned, that it doesn't have to be a forever thing. It can change as well. So actually give it a go, and, you know, to get set up initially doesn't really take that much. You've not really got anything to lose just to give it a go. You know, it's not like you need a lot of money to invest or anything. So it's yeah, and depends on what type of business. You can generally, you know, do it from home, and
yeah,
whether you're doing it very well or not, you can fit it in around. So
yeah, that is the thing I think as well. It's like it has to be something that works for you. And one of the things that really pissed me off about the coaching the coaches industry was that you had to do the bro hustle, you had to be the girl boss, you had to be pitch, sell, and everything must be like a gazillion pounds and and it doesn't have to be that way. Like it needs like if you're like our audience is, if you're like busy working, got kids, possibly got not challenges, but hormone things going on, like that's not going to work for you, that hustle and the like working from 5 o'clock and having to get up at 5 o'clock and then not finishing at 10 o'clock at night. Like that's a shit. Like I've done that and I nearly killed myself doing it, and realized that actually, do you know what? I need to take a step back and make this work for me. And I suppose that's where I'm coming from a lot with the coaching, with the strategy side, is like, how do we create a business that is going to support your life, not take over your life?
Yeah.
And I think you've managed to achieve that pretty well. You know, it's not exactly a stress-free job that you have.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be fair to give you the, right, well, you need to be get up at 5 every morning and do the bro hustle. Ain't gonna work.
No, absolutely not. And I still enjoy my job. I like, so I want to be giving as much and to be giving as much as I can to that as well. So I kind of, and I've had moments where I do feel like, oh, what am I doing? This is a bit much, really. But I think
That
that's
will
the thing.
never go away, darling. Never,
Yeah,
ever, ever. We're nearly
I
a
know, and I
decade in.
appreciate, I've got to put the work into this, or it's not going to go anywhere. But it's now starting to realize, well, actually, no, but it's mine, so I can do what I can do what I want with it, and if I need to kind of, it's less priority for a couple of weeks, and then I can put more into it when I, so I'm now that I'm kind of getting a bit more comfortable with that, I'm thinking, yeah, I can do it, I can do this.
Yay!
Yeah.
It's the push and pull, isn't it? It's like, and you've got to work with your own energy levels. And there's going to be times, all of us in our 40s, there's going to be times where we have to ask the question, going, right, am I being lazy and procrastinating, or am I actually just really fucking tired? Like, because there's a whole life going on round about us. We don't have the energy resources that we once had, and we don't but there is elements of being really honest and asking ourselves the right questions, and that you're getting far more comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Love it. All right, well, thank you, my lovely. What I'm going to do is I'll pop the link for your group in the show notes.
Thank you.
For anybody that's listening that you do want to explore your own business, or you've got a business that you're wanting to grow or scale, then get in touch with me. If you want to just chat to Louise about what she's doing, get in touch with Louise. She's not actually given me permission to say that, so look, I'm sorry if that's not appropriate, but tough. Yeah, just message Louise.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy for anything.
And I think, like, for me, like what Louise said is absolutely right. Like, if you've got an urge, it's almost like a calling sometimes, of you've got a skill that can help other people. It is almost your responsibility to do something with that. Doesn't necessarily mean setting up your own business, but it might just be like doing a couple of hours a week volunteering somewhere, or
Yeah.
there is a this sounds really wanky, but it is a gift.
Yeah.
Any final words from you, Louise?
No, I think, I would totally agree with that. Definitely, when I first started teaching my yoga classes, I did them free just as a bit of a taster, and I actually really enjoyed that, and I learned loads from doing that. So I think it's, anything you've got to share, people are so grateful for it as well.
Yeah.
They appreciate it. So yeah.
It's all cool. It's all cool. Right, my lovely. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I'll put the show notes up. I'll put the link in there. And if you've got any questions, you know where to go. I'll speak to you in the next one.
Thank you. Bye.
And just like that, we have spiced up another episode of Piss Off Perimenopause and the Musings of a Bullshit Queenager. Massive shout out and a huge thank you for hanging out with me today. I really hope you've been entertained. And remember, don't be shy, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, keep those heels high and standards higher. Remember, it's all about glowing, growing, and downright owning it. So catch you on the flip side, and don't forget to click the link in the show notes